Hello,
بخیر خدمت
dear
همه
audience.
حضار
I
گرامی.
am Dr.
من
Haydarian,
دکتر
a
هیدریان
specialist in
هستم،
bird health and
متخصص
diseases.
بهداشت و بیماری‌های پرندگان. امروز به عنوان مجری و
Today,
کارشناس
I am at your
برنامه
service
همایشی
as a
که دور هم
presenter and
هستیم در
expert on the
خدمتتون
program.
هستم و هدف برگزاری از این همایش در اصل
The
ترویج
purpose of this conference is to
فرهنگ
promote the
استفاده از
culture of
گوشت
using
بوقلمون
turkey meat so
هستش
that it
که
becomes
در
more
سفره
common on our
غذایی
dinner
ما
tables.
وارد بشه بیشتر از این و انشاءالله بهره لازم رو از کیفیت این گوشت بتونیم ببریم. اگر موافق باشید
If you
با
agree,
برگزار
let's get to know
کنندگان
the
این
organizers of this
همایش آشنایی
conference.
داشته باشیم.
Turkey generally entered our food chain from the North and Central American continents and is approximately 5,000 years old. This bird was not used in the world until the discovery of the American continent. After Christopher Columbus discovered the American continent, he saw that turkey meat was used by the Native Americans. With the immigration of Spanish immigrants to Europe, turkey meat entered Europe, and gradually it was used on people's tables and in religious and national ceremonies, such as Christmas or Thanksgiving. After the industrial production of turkey meat, which began around the beginning of the 20th century, it spread throughout the world.
سراسر دنیا در کشورهای مختلف میکنه و وارد ورطه تولید صنعتی میشه. به طور کلی مهمترین کشورهایی که در تولید بوقلمون
The most important countries that play a role in the production and consumption of turkey are the United States, Israel, Italy, and Germany. So that Israelis consume approximately 15 kilograms of turkey meat annually. The United States approximately 9 kilograms, and countries such as Italy consume about 4 to 5 kilograms per capita. Iran is also known as the 29th largest producer of turkey meat in the world, but per capita consumption of turkey meat in Iran is low, which requires cultural development. And one of the tasks that this conference is doing is promoting the culture of consuming turkey meat. Due to the good quality of its turkey meat production, Iran is even active in exports to the Persian Gulf countries, Iraq, Azerbaijan, and Afghanistan. The production of turkey meat in Iran is approximately 50,000 tons per year, and this figure is increasing. The period of raising meat turkeys until the bird reaches maturity is about 4 to 5 months.
یعنی در کل دنیا به طور کلی بخوایم بگیم حدود 4 تا 5 ماه هستش. یعنی تا یه پرنده بالغ
During the exploitation phase, each turkey must weigh approximately 12 to 20 kilograms before it can be harvested and sent to the slaughterhouse.
تقریبا باید وزن هر بوقلمون بین 12 تا 20 کیلوگرم رسیده باشه که حالا بر اساس سیاست‌ها و مدیریت‌هایی که هر فارم داره بین این رنج وزنی برداشت صورت میگیره و در نهایت پرنده‌ها به کشتارگاه میرن. مهمترین استان‌هایی هم که در اصل ما
The most important provinces in our country that produce turkeys are Kashvan, East Azerbaijan, and Tehran. You see pictures of the 3 common species we choose for breeding, the white and bronze turkeys, which breed very well and gain weight very quickly.
خوب پیش میره و از طرفی از نظر وزنی هم وزنگیری خیلی خوب و سریعی دارن. اگر بخوایم یه مقایسه از لحاظ رنج
If we want to make a comparison in terms of price range, turkey meat is approximately 1/3 to 1/4 cheaper than red meat.
حوالی مدت زمان الان هستش براتون آمارش رو آوردم. گوشت بوقلمون
After nutrition experts come and talk about the importance of turkey meat, we see that it can work alongside red meat.
بعد از اینکه کارشناس تغذیه‌مون بیان و راجع به اهمیت گوشت بوقلمون صحبت بکنن می‌بینیم که میتونه
Because turkey meat contains 2 types of meat, white meat and red meat, which is considered one of its unique features.
این یکی از ویژگی‌های منحصر به فرد اون به حساب میاد که عملاً توی فرآیند تغذیه‌ای میتونه نقش مؤثری رو داشته باشه.
If you agree, let's watch a video about the turkey production cycle together and then meet with the program's nutrition expert.
بوقلمون تا مرحله فراوریش با هم دیگه داشته باشیم و بعد از اون به ملاقات کارشناس برنامه‌مون که در ارتباط با تغذیه میاد بریم.
In the first part, you see the structure of the hatchery, the place where the fertilized eggs are incubated. The eggs are placed in incubators, which are considered mothers. And after they approach the hatching period, they enter the cycle of day-old chicks and finally enter a hall for vaccination, beak trimming and sex determination. At this stage, the broiler chickens, which are often not male chickens, are separated and after vaccination, they are placed in boxes for transfer to breeding farms. The chicken boxes are then placed in the hall and distributed to different parts of the farm. The farm environment has been prepared in advance, bedding has been laid. The ambient temperature is appropriate, and the water and feed bowls have been filled. Everything is done mechanized, adjusting temperature, heat, and lighting. All conditions related to keeping birds are fully controlled. As mentioned, it takes approximately 4 months for a bird to reach a weight of about 18 to 20 kilograms before it can be transported from the farm to the slaughterhouse for harvesting. In order to transport the birds to the slaughterhouse, it must be done in dim light, which reduces stress on the birds. Finally, they are mechanically loaded into existing cages and into the truck carrying the birds. In this section, the birds are hung from the corresponding clamps by their feet and enter the slaughterhouse cycle. After the birds are slaughtered, they enter the stage of stuffing, emptying the internal organs, and separating each of these parts. Cut into the size of turkeys. This is the cutting section, where the turkey meat is divided into different pieces and sections and sent for packaging. Birds are often fed soybean meal. The doctor is here, perhaps they can help better in this regard. It provides the bird with a combination of minerals and vitamins that allow the birds to grow in a specific exposure cycle and under fully controlled breeding conditions. Environmental stresses are reduced as much as possible so that they can better manage the bird's conditions. Considering that they say it doesn't contain cholesterol, explain its properties. If you would allow us to wait with a round of applause for Dr. Hadi to explain the nutritional quality of turkey meat so that we can become more familiar with this issue. Thank you. Hello, doctor. You are very welcome.
Hello, and don't be tired. I'm at your service.
Mr. Doctor, friends would like to know about the quality of turkey meat. Of course, before that, I would appreciate it if you could introduce yourself and then we can go into the properties of turkey meat and why we are seeking to promote the consumption of this meat product in our diet.
I am Dr. Saeed Hadi, a faculty member at the University of Medical Sciences, an assistant professor in the Department of Nutrition, director of the Clinical Nutrition Department, and a member of the country's Specialized Nutrition Board. Dear friends, one very important point that we need to address is what is the purpose of eating? The purpose is to provide us with a series of nutrients. The body needs a series of them in large quantities, which we call macronutrients. Like what? The most important of them are protein, carbohydrates, and fat. Proteins are a daily requirement, meaning that if the body wants to work well, it needs to receive protein daily. Always remember one thing: observe moderation in eating and preparing food. Moderation in eating is very important. Our daily protein requirement is about 150 grams, which means if we want to say the size of a matchbox, 150 grams of daily requirement is about 5 to 6 matchboxes. Each matchbox has 30 grams of protein, and each unit of meat, whether red meat or other meats, provides you with about 7 grams of protein. There are also micronutrients, which are vitamins and minerals. The vitamins that are needed are abundant in these meats. The most important proteins that the body can obtain are animal proteins. We have a series of plant proteins and a series of animal proteins. In the animal protein section, the first category is red meat. Beef, mutton, poultry, and aquatic meat, which is seafood. We say that if we want to maintain our health, we recommend reducing the sources of red meat, and what should we use more? Sources of white meat proteins, such as poultry. Many diseases that are now becoming more prevalent, such as obesity or MS, or cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, and high blood pressure, are directly related to excessive consumption of red meat, because it raises cholesterol, raises LDL, and can cause atherosclerosis and cardiovascular disease.
MS یا بیماری‌های قلب عروقی، دیابت، فشار خون ارتباط مستقیمی پیدا میکنه با مصرف بیش از حد گوشت‌های قرمز. چون کلسترول رو بالا میبره، LDL رو بالا میبره و در نتیجه میتونه باعث آترواسکلروز و بیماری قلب عروقی بشه. یک نکته جالب
An interesting point, in red meat, there is an omega-6 called arachidonic acid. This arachidonic acid is usually subjected to enzymes, which we call lipoxygenase or cyclooxygenase. Painkillers like ibuprofen or naproxen, which we sometimes use for headaches, what is their purpose? Their purpose is to inhibit cyclooxygenase. What does it reduce? It reduces prostaglandins. If you consider the biochemical structure of phospholipids, there is a glycerol molecule, a fatty acid phosphate molecule, and an acid molecule. This undergoes phospholipase A2. What does it become? Arachidonic acid, which is an omega-6, undergoes cyclooxygenase, and prostaglandins are produced. Now, the red meat that we have been talking about all this time contains a lot of arachidonic acid and can increase inflammatory substances such as leukotriene in the body, so it causes inflammation. We recommend red meat in inflammatory patients such as diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and obesity. They should use less and minimize it, and on the other hand, they should use white meat. One of the white meats that we emphasize a lot is the use of turkey meat. Research has shown that the protein in turkey meat is much higher than red meat. Here is a comparison of the macronutrients between the two types of meat. See, the protein is all in 100 grams. The protein in turkey is about 28.6 grams. That means if I eat 100 grams of turkey meat throughout the day, I can meet about 28.6 grams of protein, which is 56% of the daily requirement. Every person we have here, healthy people, needs 0.8 to 1 gram per kilogram of protein. If a person weighs 70 kilograms, he needs 70 grams, so if I come and use 100 grams, how much can I provide? At least 57%. The protein that red meat has is 25.9 grams. Remember, proteins contain amino acids. We have two types of amino acids, essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. the same BCWs that athletes use in supplements: valine, leucine, isoleucine, lysine, methionine. These are the essential amino acids that animal proteins usually have. A lot of this protein that turkey has also has those 9 essential amino acids. Let me give you an example. I want to do a drawing. I have a box of colored pencils with 12 colors. With these 12 colors, I can draw a complete drawing. But if I have a box of 6 colored pencils, my drawing will not be complete. We can roughly compare the difference between the two, an animal protein to plant protein, like this. Usually, proteins, especially turkey, have more essential amino acids. I can draw a more complete drawing. The cell that is going to be made in my body will be a better cell. Many of the enzymes in the body, many of the hormones in the body, need protein to make the cell. So we see that in terms of protein, turkey is more complete. Carbohydrates, usually animal sources do not have carbohydrates, but there is a small amount in turkey meat, but red meat does not. Food fat is very important. Tier 1s, you should prepare food that has the least amount of fat, where I mentioned that red meat has saturated fats. Here it is. See the percentage of fat in turkey. In 100 grams it is about 7 grams, but see how much fat in red meat? 15.4 grams, that is, it is twice as much, so we do not recommend it for those who have cardiovascular disease, we do not recommend it for cancer, we do not recommend it for inflammatory patients. And the next thing is turkey juice. The amounts you see, for example, here it is 63% water, but the water in red meat is less. This is the label table, the calories of each, all of this is in 100 grams, the calories of turkey meat are 189 kilocalories, that is, if you consume 3 matchboxes of meat, each matchbox has 60 kilocalories, it will be almost 189. Dear ones, be sure to keep in mind the calories of the food you are making, this is very important, but if you make it with red meat, how many calories are there? 250 kilocalories, that is, you get more calories with the same 100 grams, in fact, calories in 1 ounce are 28 grams, in 80 grams it shows that the calories are 161 and that is 213. It's a complete table, explained. Total fat is 7.4, right? The saturated fatty acid is 2.2. But look at this, how much is it? 5.9, meaning red meat has twice as many saturated fatty acids, and that increases cholesterol and cholesterol deposits in the arteries, and what does that create?
Atherosclerosis.
Yes, it causes atherosclerosis and cardiovascular diseases. Trans fatty acids are usually low in both. Cholesterol is about 109 and 88. One question, the saturated fatty acid content of turkey is low, but we see that cholesterol here is 109 but here is 88. Red meat cholesterol is lower. Why? Because where is most of the fat stored in turkey? It is in the skin. And this number includes the skin. We always recommend that the skin of poultry or fish be removed. If the skin is removed, the cholesterol content will also be reduced. So when preparing food, if it is made with turkey meat, be sure to try to remove the skin. As you can see below, it has neither sugar nor fiber. Turkey is one of the sources sources of vitamin D. Of course, it is not high, but it is good. Let us remember that vitamin D is not found in any food source. What are its sources? The sun, which is not in Iran in an amount that allows the synthesis of vitamin D, is found in aquatic animals and eggs. It is very interesting that it is also found in pumpkin seeds. In fact, 2.5% of the daily requirement for vitamin D, i.e. about 15 micrograms, can be provided, but red meat is low in vitamin D. It has very good calcium. There is more calcium in turkey meat. Turkey meat has less iron, which is better, because studies have now shown that one of the risks that causes diseases such as cancer and other diseases is increased iron load. Our consumption of red meat is high. I have said several times that red meat consumption should be minimized. They say that now that red meat has become more expensive, you are saying this, but the fact is that we always recommend that red meat be consumed less, because of its high saturated fatty acids. It is high in potassium. There are now all kinds of weight loss diets on the internet, including ketogenic diets, Mediterranean diets, and vegetarian diets. One of the important components of healthy diets, such as Mediterranean diets or other vegetarian diets, which are said to lower blood pressure, is the use of white meat. Turkey is also one of the white meats that has high value. These are proteins. In fact, the discussion of the difference between proteins is telling. Turkey is high in tryptophan. Now we see, anxiety disorders are high in society. We recommend that sources containing tryptophan increase. We know that tryptophan is subjected to enzymes in the body and converted into serotonin. You saw a person who is very happy. They say his serotonin is high. Many of the drugs that are available increase the serotonin. So turkey is one of those foods that can be effective in our sleep, reduce our stress, and there is tryptophan that is converted into serotonin and then into melatonin. If you want to use a food, instead of red meat, we should use poultry meat like turkey meat, which is high in tryptophan. Branched chain amino acids. Athletes, especially those in the muscle building phase, should use white meats such as turkey meat. BCW turkey meat, or valine, leucine, isoleucine, which is found in sports supplements, lysine, methionine, glutamine. These are amino acids that are found in turkey meat, but these sources are less in red meat. Here we see, tryptophan, which turkey meat has, is about 104%, meaning if you use 100 grams, it can provide 100% of tryptophan, but if you use 100 grams of red meat, it is 34%. Other amino acids, you see isoleucine is 57%, but red meat is 59%. Now, since turkey is high in, for example, leucine, in many diseases, in the synthesis of many hormones, enzymes, this leucine is involved, especially if you want to make food for children, try to go for meats that are white meats. Red meat usually has higher iron. Why? Because red meats have more myoglobin, and myoglobin contains iron, and it is neoglobin that gives the meat its red color. That is why turkey meats are white meats. In fact, they have less hemoglobin and less iron.
خب تو اسید آمین‌های دیگه معمولا اینجا
Amino acids like lysine are very high. Histidine is an amino acid that can be very effective in health. We see tryptophan here. Let's compare how much less it is compared to red meat. That is, we can use it as a sedative and a health booster.
یعنی پس به عنوان یک آرام بخش و یک در واقع سلامت بخش میتونیم ازش استفاده کنیم. خب در مورد چربی ها میگه که در واقع گوشت هایی که حالا بر
Regarding fats, red meat-based meats are about 15.4% fat, but white meats like turkey are 7.39%. White meats like turkey are less saturated, which is a very important point. They are less saturated, so they reduce cardiovascular disease.
میگه پلی unsaturation fatty acidش بالاست.
Polyunsaturated fatty acids are high. We have a monounsaturated fatty acid like omega-9, like olives, which are rich in omega-9, and we have a series of polyunsaturated fatty acids like omega-3 and omega-6. Why do we recommend omega-3 in your diet? Usually red meat does not have omega-3 and omega-6, but instead turkey meat contains omega-3 and omega-6. But in fact, there is a difference. Red meat still has more omega-9 than turkey meat. It is usually also affected by the processing process. In the processing process, the calories and fat increase a little, like sausages, which are used in the food industry. Look here, turkey meat shows that the saturated fatty acid is about 2.1, but here you see it is 5.8, it has about twice the saturated fatty acid, and the monounsaturated fatty acid, which is the same as omega-9, is 2.6, but it is actually higher in red meat. The polyunsaturated fatty acid is about 2.1, but we see that it is much lower in red meat. So in fact, the ratio of turkey meat to red meat is -63% less saturated fatty acid, and on the other hand, the polyunsaturated fatty acid, that is, unsaturated fatty acids, we have about 337% higher. And what is the benefit of all this? For the benefit of us having a healthy body and preventing disease in the future. As for carbohydrates, the amount of carbohydrates is much lower. We divide vitamins into two categories, water-soluble vitamins and fat-soluble vitamins. Usually, water-soluble vitamins are the B vitamins. Usually, red meat is very low in B vitamins, but turkey meat is a high source of B vitamins. One thing I want to point out is that B6 and B12 are usually found only in animal proteins. Those who are on a vegetarian or vegan diet can have a deficiency of vitamins B6 and B12, which can lead to anemia. Therefore, we emphasize that animal protein should be used in addition to plant protein.
در کنار پروتئین گیاهی و پروتئین حیوانی باشه به این خاطر هستش. خب ویتامین B3 خیلی خوبی داره.
Vitamin B3 is very good, the same as niacin. Many women come to us with hot flashes. Our body gets hot. Vitamin B3 is a very good supplement. It is also found in turkey. When we recommend reducing red meat and consuming more white meat, we see that these symptoms also decrease. It is vitamin B3, vitamin B2, and B5, pantothenic acid. Usually many people come to us with hair loss, vitamin, biotin, and B5, in fact B-pantine, the same supplements that are available on the market, usually have these two vitamins that can be very helpful in preventing hair loss, Again, studies have shown that B5 and biotin, which are also called B7, are usually more abundant in turkey meat. Vitamin B9, vitamin B1, which is thiamine, we see that a deficiency of vitamin B1, B2, and B3 leads to neurological problems. Many people come to us and say, I am very lethargic. It is related to vitamin B1, B2, and B3, which we see in turkey meat, but its main sources are grains. Some people completely eliminate meat protein, saying that we are animal advocates and do not consume animal meat at all. Over time, they will see a deficiency of these vitamins in their bodies. Vitamin E is a very good antioxidant. Vitamin C, a vitamin that is found much less often, is usually found in fruits and vegetables. We see the ratio of vitamins, including vitamin D, vitamin B1, B2, and B3, and we can compare the amounts of these compared to red meat. Minerals, something we see a lot, is selenium. Selenium is more abundant in red meat. Selenium is an antioxidant. There are selenium supplements on the market. Those who have good selenium in their bodies usually have a strong immune system. They get colds less often. They have high selenium. On the other hand, we see that phosphorus levels are higher than red meat. It has acceptable zinc. It has less iron. It can provide copper. In terms of calories, turkey meat is low in calories. It has very few carbohydrates. Sodium, salt, we think sodium is only in salt. No, sodium is much less in turkey meat. Cholesterol is actually 109. And the protein percentages, if we consume about 29 grams of protein, we can get a ratio of 68% of the daily value. Cholesterol is about 36% of the daily value. Vitamin B3, in 100 grams, is 60%. Vitamin B6 is about 47%. Vitamin B2 is about 22%, and phosphorus is about 32% with 100 grams. So what are the health benefits? These are all research studies that have been done. In meta-analyses it has been shown that if we actually consume white meat, like turkey, it reduces cardiovascular disease, compared to those who consumed a lot of red meat. In the hospital, we ask people with cancer about their eating habits. They say, "Doctor, I have been consuming only red meat continuously for almost 30 years. The cooking method is also very important." The patient said, "If we don't have barbecue every day, that day is not our day." That is, if we cook the same red meat with bad methods, it is actually either frying or over-grilling, because when we grill meat, burns are created on the grill, which we call acrylamide, which over time can actually do what? Increase free radicals, so it can cause diseases. So the first point, for health, try to use more white meat, including turkey, and minimize red meat. Those who have type 2 or type 1 diabetes, we recommend that they use at least about 120 grams per week in their diet. Dear friends, your need for any animal protein is 120 to 150 grams, Using more than this can cause health problems. And the next point is that they observed that in fatty liver, the prevalence of fatty liver is very high now. We have about 30% of fatty liver. We call it the silent killer, and the main cause of fatty liver is cholesterol and triglycerides, which are usually higher in red meat. What does saturation cause? Fatty liver. Cancers that cause liver cancer, if we do not observe, in the first stage we have steatosis, the next stage we have steatopatitis, then we have liver cirrhosis, and after that there is HCC, hepatocellular carcinoma, liver cancer. That is why we say, the silent killer. It suddenly appears symptoms, and if it is not treated well, it quickly kills the patient. So if we observe it for a long time, we can actually have a healthy body. Colon cancer, its connection with fast food, its connection with canned food, its connection with red meat has been very high. Rectal cancer, lung cancer, hormonal cancer that is now becoming more common, including breast cancer, ovarian cancer, uterine cancer, prostate cancer. What does all this come back to? It comes back to estrogen, to high cholesterol. Cholesterol becomes estrogen. Increased estrogen causes these diseases, so we should pay attention to these in our diet as much as we can. The next point, usually now we see that we all have some degree of anxiety and depression. We need to control this with a healthy diet. Many studies have shown the connection between the digestive system and fatty liver, the connection between the digestive system and the brain. If we make our digestive system feel good, our mind is also calm. So with a healthy diet, with a balanced diet of macronutrients and micronutrients, we follow our food pyramid. The grains we use, as much as we can use, less sugar, less carbohydrates. On the other hand, use fruits and vegetables, use low-fat dairy products, reduce the fat in our food, which is usually high in saturated fat in our food sources, and there is tryptophan, which usually plays a role in the synthesis of serotonin, and is actually a very essential amino acid in mood, cognition, mental and behavioral disorders. It can have a significant effect. These are the references we used. So my general conclusion is, try to strike a balance in your diet, and try to use animal and vegetable proteins in balanced proportions, and if you use animal proteins with healthier meats, such as poultry and seafood. Turkey meat is one of the white meats that we recommend in our diet, and on the other hand, red meats such as sheep, camel, and cow should be less in our diet. Thank you. If you have any questions, I am at your service. You said red meat causes heart disease. Excessive consumption. Yes, we had the same procedure in previous years, but the rate of heart disease has increased a lot in the past few years. Perhaps other reasons are involved, such as air pollution, the genetically modified products that we now see in the market, the oils we consume, and many other things. Now, turkey meat, which is unrivaled in terms of quality, is on the agenda, but whether we want to reduce or stop consuming red meat affects our dietary structure.
تغییر ایجاد کنیم به نظرم منطقی تر باشه یکم تا اینکه بخوایم گوشت قرمز رو به عنوان یه عامل اصلی بخوایم حذف کنیم این موضوع رو
Yes, first of all, we didn't say to eliminate it completely. Even for women, the need for iron increases during pregnancy. The next point was that heart disease was less common in the past.
یک نکته بگم شما گفتید قدیما خب کمتر بود بیماری قلب و عروقی.
There was less
استرس
stress.
ها کمتر بود،
Yes,
آلودگی‌ها
there was
کمتر بود.
less stress,
یادتون
less
باشه که
pollution,
ریسک
and
بیماری
remember,
قلب و عروقی
40%
40%
of the risk of cardiovascular disease is related to diet. Other factors are also involved. I was asked elsewhere that in the past, people ate animal fat, butter, and red meat. Why wasn't there anything like that among them? First, they lived in clean air. Second, they didn't have stress. And most importantly, they were physically active. They got up at 4 in the morning, ate breakfast, maybe even butter. They had a small lunch and an early dinner. You see, they had a healthy lifestyle. Note that in the past, people died at a young age, but the cause of death was not known, because there were no facilities to find out. For example, if they died of cardiovascular disease or something else, our advice to you is that you don't want to eliminate it. In fact, you need to reduce it. Instead of 5 times, use it twice a week and in an amount of 120 to 150 grams.
Exactly with the sports style that everyone is pursuing now, sports trainers generally emphasize more on white meat. It is recommended that you get the majority of your protein from chicken, turkey, and eggs.
درصد عمده پروتئین رو از روی گوشت مرغ و بوقلمون و تخم مرغ میگن تامین بکنید.
I wanted to know what the nutritional value of turkey eggs is, because they are not in the food basket.
One of the sources of highly valuable proteins is bird eggs. The nutritional value of all bird eggs is almost the same. For example, the biotin group vitamins that I mentioned, pantothenic acid, for example, egg yolk shampoos or bird egg yolks, are now available, so they supply choline and can play a role in the nervous system. On the other hand, the whites of all eggs are albumin, they are all proteins. That is, if we use, for example, chicken egg whites or turkey eggs, we get protein, but because the size of the turkey egg is larger, we also get more protein. We recommend consuming 1 bird egg per day, because bird egg yolks have high cholesterol.
و بنابراین توصیه میکنیم که اگر هم استفاده میکنید 1 بار در روز کفایت میکنه.
The fear that most families have, whether it's chicken or turkey, like the chicken we saw, they're given hormones or vaccines, for example. Does this have any effect on the meat we consume? Dear friends, I visited almost all the farms and slaughterhouses in the country, both chicken and turkey, and you can see that, first of all, contrary to the perception in cyberspace, they do not use hormones.
It is eugenics.
The second point, the vaccine you mentioned, yes, they do give vaccines.
Is turkey or ostrich meat better for blood clotting?
Turkey and chicken, because it has less iron. You know we have myoglobin. Myoglobin binds together to create hemoglobin, and iron structures that are heme. And usually the more iron you use, the more it can affect blood concentration.
Thank you very much. If you have no other questions, please encourage the doctor to join us with our next guest. Thank you very much, doctor. Hello, everyone. I am very happy to see you, in the name of God who created all the beautiful senses, in our tongue and in our sense of smells so that we can touch and taste delicious food. This is very beautiful, something that you create, and you can express the flavors one by one and completely describe them to another person. My colleague gave a series of explanations about turkey. What can this useful meat do for our lives? What benefits does it have? What dishes can we make with it? A feature that turkey has compared to other poultry is that it has less fat, a higher protein percentage, so it is more beneficial for us. So if I am using this type of meat, I will learn how to cook it.
پس اگر من از این نوع گوشت دارم استفاده میکنم میرم روش پختش رو یاد بگیرم. حالا من میخوام یه سری رسیپی
I want to tell you some recipes that are universal.
جهانی هستن. الان مثلا همین
The same company that organized this seminar for you and I am also explaining as a lecturer says, we are telling you recipes with turkey meat in the world that its nutritional value has not decreased. We all think, for example, that just by adding turmeric and some spices we can improve its taste. I have put a series of spices here for you. These are spices that have light colors and are suitable for poultry. When we are cooking, we always use authentic Iranian spices like turmeric and red spices. This is not the case in Western cuisine at all. In Western cuisine, because the color of our protein is light, we should use light-colored spices, not spices that darken it. Most authentic Iranian stews are dark in color, because they are covered with paste. Most of them are dark in color, so there is no problem with them. But this is not the case with Western dishes. The color shows you that your food was prepared under the supervision of an experienced chef. You can't make every food red. Add paste to it, let's say pepper, which has become one of the authentic Iranian spices. Everyone loves it. They also use it on their eggs, but it is not right in Western dishes. The spices that I have put here for you are suitable for poultry meat. The first spice is paprika. There are two types of paprika. We have green paprika and red. Green paprika is used for all types of poultry. Red paprika is used for all types of red meat. The second spice is thyme. We also have two types of thyme. In Iran, everyone who lives in any region of our country calls all the plants that grow along the rivers thyme. Some of these are oregano. They are not thyme, or they call any time they touch oregano. Oregano looks like a flower. Oregano usually grows and is cultivated in high altitudes. Thyme is on the slopes of the mountains. Shiraz has the best thyme. The third spice is garlic powder, or you can use garlic powder or garlic granules. It becomes granules, dried and crushed garlic that we put in heat. We just don't add oil to it. The fourth spice is pepper. Something I always say in my classes, it's better to always use unground pepper, called allspice, black pepper, or white pepper. They have different flavors, but I always prefer to use white pepper for dishes that are from Macanese, not black pepper, because the color of the food may start to change for Western cooking. The fifth spice is sage. Sage is not used much in Iran, but in Western and international cooking it is one of the most important aromatic spices used in food. It is called one of the flavorings of poultry food. About turkey, they said that it is one of the most important proteins used in all European and American countries. You have seen in all the movies that on Christmas Eve they go for the turkey first. We go for the vegetable pilaf with fish and they go for the turkey. That is why we all think that all the dishes we want to make are hot onions and paste. Here I have brought you a few recipes in which we can use fruits. The first thing is cranberries. We can use either fresh or dried to flavor the turkey. The berry family, whether it's cherries, sour cherries, or strawberries, adds a delicious flavor to your cooking, especially in Western cuisine. Marinetti rock we just made, it has apple juice and brown sugar. Doesn't that make the turkey meat sweet when eaten? Did you see the lemon in the ingredients? It's for balancing. It's not too sweet. Generally when there's lemon in every dish, you have a balanced dish, but if it's just sweet fruit juices, it will definitely be sweet. Brown sugar also thickens during cooking. It doesn't add as much sugar. People with diabetes are advised to use brown sugar, because when it's caramelized, its sugar starts to go down. It has a much lower sugar content. Brown sugar is used for these diet sweets, so I'm only using it here to thicken the sauce. Secondly, I put 2 lemons, which are a balancer. It's not like the dish will be too sweet. The apple itself isn't too sweet. It has a very good aftertaste and doesn't have a moldy sweetness and is more tender. Most Western and Eastern European countries try to use fruit juice, and turkey with orange sauce is one of the most quintessential British dishes. The lean part is 0% fat, but the turkey thigh has 8 to 10% fat, so it is definitely better to rest the part with less fat so that it can fully absorb the marinade. After you rest, you can either leave it on the heat, or you can put it in the oven until it starts to soften. Here I brought you a series of pastas. Pasta can be one of the first-rate dishes on the menus of all countries. Whether you go to European countries or Arab countries, all menus have a pasta. It is one of the authentic dishes. Now I came here and brought you a series of pastas that can be made with turkey. There is an Italian-American dish that has turkey and mushrooms. It is called Italian opera. First, you must use turkey breast. In this recipe, I have given you 2 pastas. One is turkey pasta, which uses vegetables like broccoli. The broccoli must be blanched. Blanching means bringing water to a boil, adding salt and vinegar, and then the vegetables. After 5 minutes, drain and transfer to a bowl of ice water. The color will remain the same. If you look closely, it will have a green color. Then we put the turkey pieces for you. Those vegetables are spinach. We have shaped pasta. Now you can use spaghetti, farfalle, fasol, or any other type. This dish has fresh coriander. The coriander flavor is amazing for turkey. It has Parmesan cheese. If I didn't tell you the complete recipe, it's only because it's made in the same way for everyone and every family. One person uses a whole breast and another person, their kids don't like it, makes it very small. This is completely a matter of taste. The size of the pasta for each person is 200 to 250 grams. You can use cheeses like Lione cheese, which makes the pasta incredibly delicious. Just don't fry it too much. Don't mix it too much. After you drain the pasta, add the cheese, then add the broccoli, fry it a little and that's it. Here we have spaghetti pasta for you, with peas and mushrooms. Those mushrooms you see are dark in color. They are shiitake mushrooms, an Asian mushroom that is dark in color. They are also sold dried in the market, which you have to soak for a while, and then use. To make steak, we can use breast or boneless thigh. To marinate it, we can use garlic, rosemary, its powder. For each piece of steak you want to use, the steak itself is 180 to 200 grams for each plate. First we slice it from the top. After this, we do not squeeze the lemon itself. We put the lemon next to the food, because the acid causes your meat to start turning white and cooking. You definitely know that chefs who are famous do not use acid directly on protein, fish that is not possible. First we take the turkey breast and season it with garlic, rosemary, thyme, and sage leaves. After we massage it a little and the aromas are mixed, salt and pepper and finally oil, the simplest method that you can use in the first step. There are 4 types of steak: rare, medium and well done. In the section below, apart from placing it on a baking sheet, I have shown you how to bake it in the oven. I have added some vegetables, such as rosemary, parsley, and butter. I mixed everything together first, let the butter melt and then made a flavored butter. You can use it with steamed vegetables, green beans which are a source of protein, chickpeas which are very high in protein, broccoli, and mushrooms which are all high in fiber and protein.
نخود آبگوشی که منبع بسیار پروتئین بالایی داره، بروکلی، قارچ که همشون خودشون میزان فیبر و پروتئین بالا دارن. کنارش استفاده بکنم. برای استیک که داخل
What is the oven temperature and cooking time for the steak?
و زمانی که داخل فر قرار میدیم. خب
First, let me say that a gas oven is different from an electric oven. A gas oven should always be at 180 degrees because it has a lot of air output. An electric oven at 150 degrees, the upper element and the lower element, just don't turn on the convection because it increases the heat and colors faster. We always put it in the middle shelf. If you look at most countries, everyone uses green beans next to steaks. Then we see tomatoes. Tomatoes are also a source of potassium. Because of their special taste and flavor, they give a good flavor to all other vegetables. This is called black tomatoes. Black tomatoes are a very high source of fiber. After this, it completely eliminates bloating, makes digestion easier, because it has a higher fat burning ability. It is used in all kinds of side dishes. Those whites you see are cheese. You can use everyday cheeses. Then you can add grilled cheese and scallions. They give a great aroma to your food. We have a tasty vegetable. Please tell me where it is best to use them in Iranian cooking and what food they go best with.
با چه غذاهای بیشتر جور در میاد و چند تا حداقل رسیپی غذای ایرانی حتما
Like Barbary pilaf with chicken, well, they are definitely poultry meat. They are similar, so we can use turkey instead of chicken. Something that goes very well with turkey this season is spinach plum stew. We all make it with red meat or with chicken. The only thing I can say is, blanch the spinach first, then chop it with a knife that is not iron, because it destroys all its properties. Cut it with plastic or wooden knives. Fry it a little, whiten the turkey meat. I said we. Blanch it in boiling water, fry it, and finally add romaine spinach. Really now, spinach plum is something I can suggest.
تفتش میدیم در آخر اسفناج رو بزنید. واقعا الان آلو اسفناج چیزیه که میتونم بهتون پیشنهاد بدم. زرش پلو مرغ هم که میتونیم جایگزینش بکنیم.
Can we use ground turkey instead of ground chicken in some of our recipes, such as pate?
Yes, we used it. It's very good. What they mean by pate is that they season ground meat, put it on cellophane, roll it up, and fry it.
Turkey thigh meat is red in color, and it is very, very delicious as a stew, vegetable stew, celery stew, even ghee, and it is no different from red meat.
Yes, it is pinker than white meat. That property is also important. Now we made a burger with it, just because turkey meat burgers are very dry. For 1 kilo of turkey breast, you should use at least 20% of the turkey thigh because it has more fat, 50 grams of melted butter, 2 cloves of garlic, then salt, pepper, paprika, and whatever you have, knead it, turn it 3 times, let it freeze in the freezer, then make burgers.
ورزش بدین 3 بار چرخش بکنی بذارین توی فریزر یخ بزنه برگرش بکن ما برگرش رو خودمون داشتیم
Thank you for the good explanations you provided, which were very constructive. Thank you. Our cooking team has prepared a delicious product for you with this turkey meat, and we have also made the bread with a delicious nugget. Come out and have a meal and get your documents. I was very happy to see you. I wish you all success and health. Thank you very much. I hope this program has been effective in promoting the culture of consuming turkey meat. Thank you very much, everyone.